Runoff was still in full swing, but we refused to accept it. So we were going to head out on a 3-day, 2-night trip to some still waters. Let's get the best part of the trip over with to start with. Here we're heading up the road to Trappers Lake, and we're now walking down toward the North Fork of the White River, where it moves out of Trappers Lake, and we've had some success down here before. It's very difficult casting. I have to throw about a 60-foot cast or a 70-foot cast with my rough hand to get it to where the fish are feeding, and finally did get a hookup. It's a beautiful fish. These are all Colorado cutthroat, very native and very beautiful fish. They don't have a lot of get up and go, but that's fine. It's just fun to get a release, and this is the best part of the trip for me. They're just gorgeous fish. You see the red on their gills and the spotted backs and the kind of yellowish white bellies. They're gorgeous. So I got the forceps out, and eventually here we'll be able to get that release happening. But that's about an 18-incher. I don't know what he weighs, but it's not a lot, but it's an awfully nice fish. So that's the extent of that part of the trip, and that was the best part. For what it's worth, the fly that did the deed is a number 20 Sparkle Comparata and a few little Antron fibers picking out its tail. This is really where the trip was supposed to start. We were intended to fish Avery Lake this afternoon, and we got up there and it was completely drained. Couldn't believe it. It apparently was drained about 2 weeks ago, so we were stuck and didn't have a clue what to do next, but we're going to figure it out shortly. So hopped in the van and drove to the entrance to the Sleepy Cat State Wildlife Area, did a hike about a couple miles in a couple of hours, saw some very interesting plants, but that was about it for the afternoon. Our next attempt was to get to Rio Blanco Lake, where they've refilled it and apparently have some good smallmouth bass fishing. That's a nasty looking thunderstorm right when we drove in. Great bunch of monatus up there. Look at that stuff. That's an ugly storm. We headed down the dike a bit. Did walk partly out there, thought about fishing, but the no-see-ums and the mosquitoes were so bad, despite the DEET we had on, we got stung to death. So we went back through Meeker again, up to the South Fork. The river here is almost impossible to access when it's high water, which it is now. Look at the vegetation along the bank. But we did eventually get down to it in a couple places. The dogs were happy to get in the stream, and I was happy to be able to make a couple of casts. I was using a stimulator on the surface, trailed about 3 feet below it with a little Prince, and did have some success, but you can see the way that water's running. It's impossible to weight it, and as the fish got out into that main current, I lost them all, including some really, really big rainbows and big cutthroats. But I was able to try a few more areas before we had dinner that night. Fish weren't really active, but they were there where the water would let them be there. That was a small 12-inch rainbow that I was able to release. Actually, could fish behind that rock and let the fly drift back into the eddy part of it. So at this point, you're going to get to see at least one of the fish I was able to release. Just kind of a thought it might be possibly a whitefish or something. Stayed down very deep and fought well, but I was able to horse it out of that main part of that current. Eventually saw the side of it, which was yellow, and which meant it's a brown trout, not a big whitefish. So I was able to get him close to the bank and finally get a release. Unfortunately, I had left camp without my forceps in my hip pack, so I'm stuck having to reach down and actually pull the fly out of its mouth with my hands, which I don't like to do because it's not nice to the fish and it's not fun for me to have to do that. But we fairly quickly got him picked up and unhooked, and happily he's on his way, and we got a nice picture of a nice fish. So that was one of the highlights of the trip too. Then we headed back to camp and ended up having a nice dinner that night. it was very pleasant on the river, although it was quite cold, and we all had our down jackets on. There's our little camp with a tarp over the edge for protection from the sun. As we sat there, we got to watch the quaking aspen right next to us. It's very interesting. They look like little balls when they wave, but they're not. The dogs are happy to be home, too. Next morning, I was able to fish a little bit of the main stem of the river below the confluence of the North and South Forks, so that didn't last long either. Then we did the very long drive up past the turnoff to Trappers Lake, went over Ripple Creek Pass, and now we're walking across the base of the dam of Vaughn Lake, which is on the opposite side of the Ripple Creek Pass, obviously. The wind's blowing so hard it was completely unfishable, uncastable, so we gave up that as well. Sue made some nice smoked salmon and cream cheese appetizers on crackers, which we enjoyed, and then we moved over to a place where the sun was still shining and could keep us warm for a while. 2 old farts sitting in the sun. It was good, but it was pretty chilly that night, too. Next morning, I got up, walked down to the lake, looking at the ducks, which are interesting. There are 4 pairs of them out there, and they're paired up completely, and they swim together. The males appear to be black and white, and the females brown. I have no idea what species they are, but I did not see a single bubble or dimple on the lake, and we gave up. Then we headed home, and we're hoping we'll have more fun next week.